Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. It's Monday, which means it's time for yet another one of our weekly viewer specials. If you are new to the program, then once a week here on Mondays on the channel, I like to showcase games from not myself, but rather from you all, the viewers. I think it's becoming a tradition that a lot of people are actually looking forward to, as I keep seeing not just new people submitting each and every week, but a lot of the familiar faces as well, which is cool. This is a series, this particular viewer special could not happen, obviously, without you all, the viewers. It's really nice too, because not only do we get to see different people play, but also we get to see decks and strategies that I either might not have gotten to yet or that I was unaware of. Both are actually going to be the case today in this week's video. So it's also cool to be able to come together as a community and just look at each other's games and see what's going on. So if you are interested in joining in on the fun, then you can do so by going down to the description below. There you will find linked an invite to my Discord server. In the Master Duel section, I have a channel there just for viewer special submissions. And if you'd like, you can leave the information about your game there. That's the best spot because that's the place that I always look first, and it's nice and really easy for me to see it. But if you don't have a Discord or you're not interested in joining, that is perfectly fine. You can also submit to the comment section below. As far as the information that I will need from you, no matter where you submit, the main thing I obviously need is your 9-digit player ID. Beyond that, though, do make sure that the replay that you want me to see is saved publicly. If it's not saved publicly, I'm not going to be able to view it. On top of that, if you want to leave just a little bit of info about the duel, like particularly if you have more than one public replay and you want me to see one particular game, definitely make sure you're leaving like your opponent's name and or like the date and time so that I know exactly which game you want me to see. But also, if you just want to leave a quick blurb, like it can even just be I played this deck versus this deck. But if you want to talk about how the game went, that's definitely cool too. Oh, and then the only other thing is that I just ask that we don't like spam submit the same game over and over again. However, if you have more than one duel you want to submit, that is totally fine. You can submit multiple different games. And, you know, like I said, we do this every single week. So if you didn't make it in one week, then you'll definitely have more chances in the future to show us what you got. But let's go ahead and dive straight into the duels we have prepared for this week's video. Okay, the first duel that we are going to see today comes to us from Leo. Leo has a game, I believe it's this Duelist Cup game here. Let me just make sure the time and date are correct, and they are. Leo's been talking about a list that I've actually been a bit curious about. That's going to be Pearly Sprite. I've heard the deck combination thrown around before, probably from Leo on the Discord server, but I think even before that as well, so let's see what we got here. Okay, we're definitely seeing aspects of both the Pearly and the Sprite here. We get the Gamma Burst in addition to the My Friend and the Sleepy. The combination also definitely makes sense, of course, with the Pearly Xyzs, a lot of them being rank 2s. What do we got going on in the extra here? Okay, I see Underworld, Evermax Sprint, that's our IP stuff, yet as well as Pit Knight Early. Got the X Pearly Happiness too. Okay, got the Shadow Mosquito and the Ensemble Robin. Alright, alright. I definitely have every card in this extra deck. Alright, let's see. Opponent's got a Shifter. Ooh, we're gonna have to play through a Shifter. That can be a bit tricky for, you know, a regular Pearly or Sprite deck to do as well. Oh, and they have the Ash Blossom for the Sleepy Memory. But of course, we do have the follow-up Sleepy Memory as well. And they have the Maxi! Are we gonna Ash Blossom it? Well, of course we are, yeah. Wow, everyone just like unloading, unleashing everything we have in our hands right during the first action of the main phase here. So, unfortunately, the Shifter will end up banishing both those Sleepy Memories because the cards don't actually leave play until the Chain Link is finished resolving, and by the time the Chain Link is finished resolving, Shifter is resolved to banish everything. So, oh, we also whiffed on the My Friend. Bad kitty, bad kitty. A couple of Sprite cards and a 1-for in there. We did find a Happy off the My Friend. And I guess the upside of this situation, too, is that our opponent's only going to have 3 cards going into their turn. So we're going to have to hope the Ensemble Robin is going to provide enough disruption. Turns out they are on Cash Tira, so the Ensemble Robin does look promising. Here it at least forces them to eat their battle phase. Actually, it looks like Rise Heart was all they had. I do like the idea of making Ensemble Robin in particular against Cashier, because if they had tried to go for like the Era, for example, we can just bounce the same with like the Arise Heart. It is a little bit tricky against just stuff like Fenrir and Unicorn, because if you bounce those, then the opponent rather is able to just special summon them from hand right away, because that's not like a once per turn thing they can do. But here, thankfully, all they had was the Rise Heart, so Brick Tira possibly living up to the name there. We have a Sprite Red. We're gonna My Friend for, I think that was, once again, 2 Delicious and a Happy. Looks like it was. This time we did find the Delicious. Last time we got the Happy, but now we can get another Purlily, adding the regular Pearly, which we can summon, revealing Sprite Starter, Nimble Beaver, and Nimble Angler. Another bad kitty, unfortunately. Purlily here is able to use the Happy Memory to go into the Happiness. We don't have the Delicious here. Oh, we're linking. Okay. Ah, because now we have a rank 2. We can go into the Sprint. Oh, and that Angler we just put back, that can summon a couple of Sunfish. Oh my god, and there's the red, and now we go into Sprite Place. So this would be the pivot here. This is the link, so to speak, between the two archetypes, right? As you can see, when it came to our Pearly board, there wasn't too much we could do. All we really had was the Happiness, and without the Delicious, we're not able to OTK against the Rise Heart. However, with the Sprite Red in hand, we simply go into the Sprint. That puts multiple bodies on the board, and now, as you can see, we are threatening a lot of damage. We're even bringing back the Expertly Happiness, which I believe will, yes, activate. Does not need an Exceed material to add cards here. We can activate the Happy Memory. This will allow us to bounce the... Oh no, we're attaching it. We don't have to bounce because they don't have a card in their field, but they're just conceding here. I'm trying to remember, does the Happiness gain multiple attacks, period, or attacks on monsters? Oh, no, it would be the Happy Memory is the one I'm looking for. Monsters. Okay, so it's attacks on monsters. But either way, we had definitely successfully managed to grind the opponent out of the advantage that they had over the course of our turn. Really, again, it was that shotgun back and forth at the beginning of the draw phase. Ended up eating a lot of the opponent's hand. And thankfully, they were not able to find Fenrir or Unicorn. But, like, wow, isn't that, like, the pivot in particular, I'm not over it. It's so cool managing to go seamlessly between the Pearly engine into the sprites just by having the red in hand there. That was so cool. Thank you very much for that submission, Leo. We do still have a couple more games to see as well, so let us go straight into the next one. Okay, so our next duel comes to us from 8bots. 8bots has a branded mirror that she would like to show off, and I do definitely plan on covering the new branded support here on the channel. I've just been a bit busy, playing other decks in the meantime, and I still gotta make sure that I learn the new branded and branded synchro. I just need to do research on them, but I also am looking to bring an expert on for that, so I still need to set up the details for that as well. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and see this game. I believe it is, yes, this one here that 8bots has got for us. It is, again, going to be a branded mirror match, so it sounds like both players are going to be on the new support here. Okay, looks like we're going second. Ooh, we're going second. We have Maxi and Ash Blossom. Okay, we are on the Lulu Lilith. I was going to see what all new stuff we're on. Also, here is the Sanctifier as well. Alright, let's see what we got. Alright, they're going to start with Cartesia, followed by Branded Fusion. Naturally, we're going to use our Ash Blossom against that Branded Fusion. Cartesia's effect is going to chain in response, and then, yeah, we get to Maxi to draw off of that resulting fusion summon. Doesn't seem like the opponent's going to have anything after that, so we seem to be off to a pretty good start here, negating the Branded Fusion and also getting to cycle the Maxi here. They're going for Granganol. We get a Branded and High Spirits. Our hand is still looking a little bit wonky, possibly. It's going to depend on what we top deck here. It's one of those hands where I can see one of a few cards pretty easily solving it, but okay, Nadir Servant's coming down next. We're adding, oh wow, they're on the Fleur-de-Lis. And they sent the Titaniclad, it looks like, yeah. Alright, Retribution banishing to add back that loss. Albion getting to activate as well here. So we know they have Lost, Fleur-de-Lis, and I believe one, about to be 2 unknown cards. No, just the one unknown card, okay. Fleur-de-Lis and 1 unknown card. They also get to summon the Guiding Quem, okay. Guiding Quem sending the Albaz from the deck to the yard. We drew an Albion off of that, so... Fusion deployment, that's a good draw right there. Alright, we're leading with the Branded or Gained. We'll see what the Albion can get us here. Banishment's not the best draw there. This deployment's going to have to put in some work. This Albaz that we get in particular. Albaz F is activating, ditching the Beast. Fleur-de-Lis is coming down in response. And we'll see what ends up getting made here. Alright, Albaz is... Oh, getting negated because of the Fleur-de-Lis effect, I believe, right? So... Oh, hold on. Sorry, I wanted to pause and read this. During the main phase, of monster special summon from the extra deck is on the field. They have the Grangadol. You can special summon this card from your hand if you control another Dogmatica monster. Guiding Quem, this card is always treated as a Dogmatica and Despia card. Then you can negate the effects of one face-up monster in the field until the end of the turn. So yeah, it was the Fleur-de-Lis because there is a monster from the extra deck on the field as well as a Dogmatica card. Again, not actually in the name, but it's always treated as such, and Despia. You're able to negate the Albaz. So now we have to follow up with the Branded and High Spirits. We do have our own Guiding Quem as well. I've seen a fair number of people say just how good the Guiding Quem is in this deck. Also, they were able to use their Albaz, which is a... Oh, for the Borload Furious as well. That's pretty good. That's a quick effect pop. Alright, here's the Guiding Quem. We're sending the Branded Fusion, which now allows that Retribution we set up earlier to wheel the Branded Fusion back into our hand. Yeah, Abots, you in particular mentioned that the Guiding Quem made it easier to set up the Branded Fusion. I can definitely see how. Got the Albion Sanctifier coming down now. Guiding Quem brings back Cartesia. Looks like the Grangadol gets to activate in response to bring out the Lulu while Lilith. So the Grangadol now does have another new target to bring out in the form of Lulu while Lilith. This also, I believe, has the ability to... Let's turn for card leaves the extra deck. You can make effects. And yeah, negate the effects of one face-up card on the field. So that's if a card leaves the extra deck. I believe that is either player's extra deck. So definitely going to want to watch for that. Foolish sending the Tragedy. Tragedy F gets to add the Albion. Have we actually... No, we normal summon the Quem. That's right. I think it was the Quem. Alright, Albion gets to run over the Lulu Lilith, but it gets to bring out the Ecclesia as a result. Okay. Ecclesia, ooh, that's definitely going to summon an Albaz. Yep, which is going to proc, pitching the Albion in hand. We do have the Branded Banishment. This will allow us to fuse with their Albaz, which would prevent them from using their Albaz to fuse with our thing. And then we get to Cartesia to fuse the Quem before the board load can pop it as well. Now we get to make our Grangadol. Oh my god, Branded Mirrors seem like... I don't know how people do it, honestly. There's something about the way this deck plays. It's so freeform. It feels above my head, but... So there's our Mirajade, and now their Albaz doesn't resolve. Quem on the Cartesia, we chain the Regained. We also get to fire off our Grangadol now. Oh, and we're going to use our Albion as well. I imagine to put our Maxia on their board and take whatever... Yeah, Cartesia. Yep. Okay, we're sending Albion. Okay, Retribution is getting back. That's the thing, though. It does become that much easier to just be able to Branded Fusion. And, I mean, really, as long as this deck can throw down a Branded Fusion, it's always going to have plays. Like, always. That one card is so good. Although, the more that Branded gets newer and newer support, it's like... It's harder to say that it's Branded Fusion that does a lot of the carrying. I mean, it is obviously still the powerhouse card of the deck, but... It also makes you wonder, if Branded Fusion was at 3... Oh, sure, I'm sure they would still play 3 copies. But it almost feels like they might play 2 copies sometimes. I don't know, because you have so many ways now to efficiently both find and recycle it that, like... Would they actually play 3? I imagine the answer is probably just yes, but I can see a world where Branded Fusion was never limited and people with all the support are like, oh yeah, let's just play 2 copies because we can get it so easily, but either way, it's all purely hypothetical. That's the other thing about branded matchups too. It's like they never feel particularly one-sided. Like, even when it does kind of feel like one side is winning, it seems like the other side comes back just as easily, honestly. Alright, we got to keep our Mirror Jade. We also have an Aliber and a Fusion deployment in hand. Okay, Albalatus gets Fusion. Yeah, because it's going to add a spell card that mentions Fusion, right? Okay, what is this card again? Hang on. This trap card they said. Brightest Blazing Branded King. Choose one fusion monster you control that enriches spawn of Albaz as a material and negate the effects of all other face-up cards currently on the field until the end of this turn. Oh my goodness. During the end phase, if a fusion monster was sent to your graveyard this turn, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. You can only activate one Brightest Blazing Branded King effects per turn and only once that turn. Wow, that's definitely not too bad. They can just set up the board-wide negate now. That seems not too shabby. Oh my god, look at all these end phase effects. Good lord. Okay, Granganol effect is going to get our Lulu-Lilith. They get their Retribution back. I mean, god, the opponent just like, okay, now we're gonna spring in, now we're gonna kit. The opponent just like +4'd there during their end phase, rather. Now we're +4'ing during the end phase as well. Good God Almighty. Got the high spirits, yep. Huh. Alright, well, that was neat. Ooh, Lubellion. Okay, Branded Lost coming down. Here is the Branded King F. Looks like we're chaining the Mirror Jade. Is the opponent going to... Oh, they're going to Fleur-de-Lis. And I believe they do have a Quem, right? So yeah, that is a Dogmatica card, which will negate the Mirror Jade there. Ah, so... The Fleur-de-Lis is actually looking really good with the Quem, honestly. It's so good. Oh, is Lulu-Lilith negated because of Granganol? Does Granganol negate whatever it brings out? No? Interesting. Or does this... No, it's one face-up monster. Huh, I'm not really sure why our stuff is negated. I don't know off the top of my head. Alright, well, I feel like I completely lost track of where the duel's at after reading, just stopping to glance at some card effects here. But, okay, now we're dropping the Dragostapelia. We used it with the... Oh, no, Tragedy's effect is setting the banishment. Oh, duh, it's because of the trap card. That's why all our stuff is negated. Right, of course. Brightest Blazing... What was it? Brightest Blazing Branded King? And that might have looked like a concede, but I believe the game will tell us that was a time limit loss, which, when you look at the scope of what was happening there, is definitely not surprising in the slightest. Again, I say, like, and I've said this before this release, but definitely I feel a lot more now. The branded deck just can do so much and so many different things. And like, God, during the end phase too, I feel like there's just, by the end of it, both players are just like resolving 6 different effects during the end phase and knowing to set that all up and what to add. And it's like, oh my God. It definitely seems like a lot. The deck is definitely capable of a lot. So thank you very much for showing off that game, 8bots. Also, I definitely appreciate showing a game where we don't take the W, because that doesn't happen with a lot of submissions. So yeah, that was definitely very insightful. Thank you very much. We have yet one more duel to see, so let's go into that now. Okay, and our last duel for this viewer special comes to us from Stan. Stan has submitted before with Gishki Sprite, and we're going to see Gishki Sprite once again. So, it's funny. In a recent stream, I had somebody ask, like, whatever happened to Gishki Sprite? You don't see people play that deck anymore. Is it bad? And the answer is no, it's not bad. People just don't play it. This is a very real phenomenon that can happen. Ooh, we're getting Maxi right off the bat. But I want to talk about this for a second. This is such a real phenomenon that happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, where people just don't try decks that are perfectly competitive and viable. And in particular, it can happen in Master Duel when a deck in particular didn't have a lot of representation in the TCG or OCG, especially if it's due to the way that Master Duel's ban list is structured. And I think that Gishki Sprite is the poster child example of this happening in Master Duel in particular. Because neither the TCG or OCG really got to experiment heavily with this deck due to the Elf ban. Therefore, a lot of people don't really consider it for Master Duel. However, I think among Sprite variants, this is probably second only to Twin Sprite as possibly the best variant. So I think it is definitely underrepresented. I think Gishki Sprite is an upper rogue deck, but if it had proper representation, it would probably be a tier 3 deck, is my personal take on it. But again, people just don't play it, so. And people will often say like, oh, well, you know, people don't play it because it's not good. And it's like, well, no, that's that cyclical logic again of like, oh, this deck is never seen because it's not good, and the deck isn't good because it's never seen. When again, it's just people not playing the deck. So we got Max Seed, we got Even Lead against the Sword Soul opponent. That's pretty brutal. Here, I gotta take a sip of water. Excuse me. Alright, so they got the Chi Shao coming down. Thankfully, they did evenly. I mean, you know, that actually is pretty thankful here because they really didn't get rid of a lot. They even lead for Jet Red. Now, I imagine they weren't really able to make plays under the red, which is why they did that. And it makes sense, but at the same time, it's a pretty weak evenly to only hit the 2 monsters and not get a battle phase as a result. Ooh, we're gonna get Drolled here. So the one thing I will say about Gishki Sprite that might make it a little bit weaker is the fact that the deck is fairly susceptible to Droll, and Droll is very popular right now. But that's another, I think, very common fallacy that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players will make, is like, oh, decks that lose to Droll can't possibly be good in this meta. And it's like, well, let's stop and think about that for a second. Droll's in this meta because a lot of decks lose to it. And a lot of those decks that are meta and having a lot of success are among those decks. So if Droll doesn't inherently stop those decks from succeeding, why would Droll inherently stop another deck that is weak to it from succeeding in the long term? You know, it's kind of like I'm seeing it with Monodium too. People are like, wow, Monodium is actually a lot better than, you know, I thought. And it's like, well, yeah, it's fine. It's a good deck. Ah, yes, and another cool thing about a Gishki Sprite is that we get to play Ibli. And the funny thing is that, unlike other decks where Ibli is more of like a gimmick, so to speak, where you kind of have to go out of your way to do it, with Gishki Sprite, particularly the variant that Snan has kind of worked on and refined over, you know, recent seasons, we actually use the Ibli, as you can see here, with the Mannequin Cat. We can use that to summon dark monsters out from our deck. So the Bujinki in particular is very, very good. And like, this is like, you know, these techs are not something that we're seeing people do or innovate with because nobody's playing this deck. Yeah, another Evenly. Oh my god. So we got Max Seed, Drolled, and Even Lead twice. And we're still going. We're still kicking in this matchup. We get to pull out our Gishki Grimness because they have a water monster thanks to the Mannequin Cat. That's adorable. That's really cute. That's so good. Oh, we got the Grimness for Abyss for Shadow, and we have the Focused Aqua Mirror. Just instantly set up. Oh, so good. So good. Taya's gonna send the Protos. Chi-Shao adding the Sacred Summit. Sacred Summit for Adhara. Okay. Oh, and then we're gonna Monk, and then... Wait, can we banish the Protos? Oh, no, we can't, because we use Chi-Shao's effect to add, right? No, we're adding the Taya. Okay, I was gonna say, we can't banish that Protos and then summon it. No. Yeah, if they had done that in Called Water, that would have been a problem, but oh, so good. The Focused Aqua Mirror searching is also not once per turn, by the way, so we get to add off of both of these. Well, now we don't. Now we don't because of Droll, but... So that, okay, add that to the Disrupt roster. We got Max Seed, Evenly Droll, Evenly Drolled. And we're still looking like we're probably going to win this duel. Well, we know from the beginning, from clicking on the game, that we win this duel, but, like, how wild is that? How wild is that? And some people have the audacity to call Gishki Sprite bad. That's the other thing. I don't think it was the same person. Maybe it was, and I'm misremembering, but when somebody in chat during that one stream asked, like, oh, why don't you see Gishki Sprite? Also, I want to point out this interaction. We can mannequin cats or bring back their max C, and that allowed us to pull the Fenrir out of the deck, which allowed us to beat over their stuff. How cool of an interaction is that? God, the mannequin cat in this deck is so good, but yeah, no, somebody in chat, when I think it was somebody else, because when the first person said, oh, why doesn't Gishki Sprite see play? Someone, you know, because someone's always like this when there's like a Yu-Gi-Oh chat, they're like, because the deck's bad, and it's like, that's not a fair evaluation. We can't call a deck like Gishki Sprite good or bad because nobody's playing it. There's nothing to evaluate. So that's kind of I just want to point out this game because not only was it very well played and showed off a lot of really cool interactions, but again, people are sleeping on this deck, and people sleep on decks like this all the time. But in any case, thank you, Stan, and thank you everybody else who submitted to this week's viewer special. Again, if you didn't get in this week, there is always the next one. We're always looking for more submissions. And also, even if I didn't show your game, I probably watched it because I do watch pretty much every replay that ends up coming in. So that'll do it for this video. Let's go ahead and move now to our outro. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching it all the way to the very end. That means a whole lot to me, and it's also a fantastic way to support the channel. And if you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways besides YouTube, there are plenty of ways to do that. If you check out the description below, you'll find a bunch of links down there. One of them goes to my Patreon. You're actually seeing the names of everyone subscribed to the Patreon on the screen right now. So if you're interested in getting your name in the credits here at the end, if you want to see more daily Master Duel content, or if you're interested in one-on-one private coaching sessions, I offer all of that on Patreon. I also stream live on Twitch. Feel free to go ahead and click that link and follow and or subscribe there. I also have the Discord community, if you want to follow that link, where hundreds of duelists have already signed up. Free to join, and you can just come hang out, talk about the game, and chill in general. Final link that's going to be in the description is my Twitter. You can follow that if you want some more notifications of what's happening with the channel. So, all in all, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.